Amy Leigh McCorkle, thank you so very much for joining me for So Zoom In. I greatly appreciate this. Now, you are in Kentucky, right?
Yes.
Okay, where in Kentucky?
I'm in Shepherdsville. I'm about 10 miles I'm in Bullitt County. I'm born and raised in Louisville. It's about 10 miles from the county line, but that's the south end, what they call the south end of Louisville. I'm about 20 to 25 minutes out of downtown Louisville proper.
Okay, all right. So I have to ask, with everything going on right now, are you safe? You know, is your area, you're okay?
Yeah. Walmart took the precaution of boarding up their windows in town. I don't think anything's going to happen in Shepherdsville. It's predominantly white. But the irony is I live in the Black neighborhood, so with my parents. So the protests haven't really affected us in this part, but my friend since high school, and he was also the set photographer on Letters to Daniel. He went downtown to cut. He's a freelance photo photographer, and he went down to the protests to cover them. And he took his wife and daughter, and they stood on the front line. There's a very famous photo going around on social media, and it was on Good Morning America, and it was on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. He snapped a photo. A Black Lives Matter leader said, if you're going to be here to the white women, you need to protect us. So the white women lined up.
Amy, we're having an earthquake right now.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Oh my God. We are having an earthquake right now.
I just noticed that. Oh my God.
Okay. That was so weird. Okay. All right. All right, so it's Mother Earth saying, okay, guys, behave. Okay, sorry for interrupting.
No, are you okay?
I'm fine. I'm on the third floor.
Oh.
And so I just felt everything rocking and rolling right there.
So wait, where are you?
Yeah, I'm in Studio City, which is part of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
You know,
Anyway, he snapped that photo of the women standing linked arm in arm protecting the protesters.
Right.
And later that night, he was shot with a rubber bullet for his efforts. The cop looked right at him and just pulled it. But that's not the half of it. The kid standing next to him caught a live round, was actually shot. And he was trying to and when Tim was backing the crowd off of him, that's when the cop shot him with the rubber bullet. He doesn't know whether the bullet came from the crowd or the police, but he says, Amy, we were on the front line and the only thing in front of us were the cops. He says, but I can't confirm where it came from. But he took that photo, and he's been, like most indie artists, kind of doing the hustle thing, trying to, and that photo, Snoop Dogg shared it, and it got like 700,000 on Instagram, and it got 100,000 on Tim's own Facebook, and Good Morning America called him to use the photo, and CBS and Reuters used he live streamed as it was going on, and they used his streaming footage.
Oh, wow.
So Tim may have got himself a calling card because everybody needs that calling. You need a portfolio, and if you have a calling card like that, that really helps. What he really wants to do is have press credentials. So his dream is just he wasn't really a great set photographer. What he is really good at is getting the human condition.
Wow.
And capturing those moments that you think, right? So he captured one in particular, and it just blew up.
Wow. Well,
and I'm proud of him.
Yeah.
I'm proud of him for being down in those protests, he was out there late. He sent his daughter and wife home earlier. But they were like people, my sister went down the second night because I was born and raised in Louisville. Shepherds, I've spent most of my adult life in Shepherdsville, which is where I'm at now. I lived for a year. I went to college in New Mexico.
Right.
And for a year I lived in Texas, San Antonio. And
so when did you start writing? Because you have several books published.
I've been writing since I was 5 years old. When was I first published? Well, first, that goes back a bit. In my early 20s, I was a stringer for a local paper in Artesia, New Mexico. I had 3 articles run. And then I had a poem published in one of those chapbooks. But the first really, I was first really published, it was 2011. So I'm coming up on my 10-year anniversary of that. And I've got my 27th book just recently went live, which is The Making of Letters to Daniel, which is the behind the scenes look at making an independent film. You meet the people, you hear the stories, all that stuff. And
you did it. You made a movie based on a book you wrote.
Yeah.
That is exciting. Letters to Daniel.
Well, I adapted, I co-write all my screenplays with my caregiver, my best friend. The fact that we lived together for 12 years as roommates and didn't kill each other in the process. And then we made a practical decision, which was to move back into our parents' homes and save money. And that's the only way I would ever have gotten out the AOF, right? But we have co-written 36 screenplays.
Wow, that's great.
34 of them are award-winning. Letters to Daniel is probably our most decorated screenplay. We sent it into like 11 or 12 festivals, and it was selected, nominated, finaled in almost every single one. So
that's great.
We adapted, but it went like this. Letters to Daniel started out as a blog. It's a blog on the internet. And then I thought, I'll make a documentary. So I couldn't get anybody to sit down and talk about this with me. If they had bipolar disorder, they didn't want to discuss it. There was a lot of shame, a lot of stigma involved. People will talk to me about it now, but so I collected, with the blog, I collected the first group of letters and put out a small volume and called it Letters to Daniel. And then.
All right, so back up a little bit. Letters to Daniel Craig, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so what's the story behind that?
Oh, he's just one of my favorite actors.
Okay.
And it could just as easily been Maurice Bernard, because he's one of my favorite actors who's also a mental health advocate. He has bipolar disorder. Okay. So Daniel Craig, because I watched Casino Royale, and I saw it in like September of 2009, and I thought I don't know about you, but when I write, I cast my stories like this actor here, this actress there, and he became the template for, like, I like to say, in that movie, I saw 1,000 stories in his face, and I wanted to tell them all. And so I've written Letters to Daniel, Something to Believe in, Making of Letters to Daniel. I've written 4 nonfiction books. The other 23 are fiction. and I use him as a physical template. I don't know him. So
Okay.
it's like I don't use Daniel Craig, the person, as my hero.
Right.
I use Daniel Craig, the actor. I like project what I want for the story, and that's what he does. I don't know him. So
not yet. Not yet.
I don't think I'm ever going to know him.
I don't know about that, Amy. You never know. So you decided to create a movie. Is it, you said it's a documentary or?
Well, first, okay, so we did the blog, then I did a small volume of letters, then I took 12 or 13, I call them the greatest hits, which you strung together and made a narrative, made the most powerful narrative. I knew nobody. I'm a nobody in my community. I still think I'm a nobody in my film community, because local actors just don't, like I'll put out a casting call and people from all over the country will answer, but not many from Kentucky will. So that's not a commentary on them being bad people. That's just tells you what the film community is like in Kentucky. It's kind of fractured. Right. So me and Missy did a small zero budget. It actually, the entire budget of the film, and this included film submissions to festivals and stuff, it was $375 was the budget. There's like little nothing budget. And I didn't know anybody, so I did the voiceover. And I felt like for this version, I really had to be the person. It's a documentary, right? I had to be the person reading the letters. And besides, I didn't know any voiceover talent. So, I'm in Kentucky. I'm not hooked up to Ohio at this point, I wasn't plugged in Ohio, which has a really good film community. And I wasn't plugged into Vegas with AOF. So it was me and it was Missy. And we just put a bunch of pictures of me throughout my life and through different events I had gone to. And it was basically a slideshow with me reading the letters and the pictures going on. And I paid $100 for the use of an end credit song. And the end credit song sounded better than everything else in the movie. So it was...
You did it.
But
you did it, Amy. And that's so awesome.
It won a handful of awards, including at AOF. It won Best Social Commentary. Hold on. I've got to go get the plug for my computer.
Okay. All right. I'm holding.
Sorry,
okay. That's
my
right.
computer was dying, so I had to find the plug. I had brought it in here, but I had never plugged it out.
Okay, that's okay.
Okay, so had won a handful of awards on the awards circuit, like at some really small festivals. The first award it won was at a small, it's not tiny, but it's like an underground indie festival. It's called Indie Gathering. And it's held in Ohio. And it's a world-class screenwriting competition. A lot of screenwriters go through there. The films, like a lot of independent film festivals, you got your cream of the crop, and then you got your it's just it's just a miracle that they made the film, and they should be applauded for that. So that's where that documentary got its first award. It won like 4 or 5 awards. It won Best Social Commentary in 2016 at AOF, and it won the Lewis Mitchell Award for Short or Feature at AOF in 2016. And that's where that particular movie's run ended. I won about 4 or 5 awards for it. Some awards mean more than others, and you've been to AOF. You know, they just smother you with that love, and they give.
And you are going to be heading a film festival there this year, right?
They awarded me that last year.
And how has that been going?
You know, it's amazing how many talented people there are out there. I wanted this festival. They told me it was for people. They were giving me a festival to serve the community that I was a part of. So that meant mentally ill artists, physical disabilities, or chronic physical conditions that sometimes you see the disability, sometimes you don't. Right. And this was an umbrella. And if you're a caregiver, you could also enter, or a teacher who deals with disabled students or special needs students. So we've gotten about 33 submissions.
Okay. Well, you have time for the deadline, though. The deadline's
end
of July?
Deadline, no.
Oh.
It's August 10th. It got pushed back because the actual date of AOF has changed to the online portion of the festival is August 28th through September 1st, and the live event is from September 2nd to September 6th.
Okay.
And they did it that way because of vendors being available, and you know, with the coronavirus, you know, you just don't know. Right. They keep talking about a second wave. I just hope it holds off to October. I just want to go to 2 festivals. The third one that I was going to go to already moved online. My movie is premiering at an online festival that I really don't feel at home at, but I want people to see my movie, so I put it up there. And the thing with this festival is that, and I won't name it because I don't want to like crap where I eat. They don't give you a pass to the festival to see the movies and go to the seminars. They charge you for everything. Even if you're an accepted filmmaker or screenwriter or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
And I understand if you're not an accepted filmmaker or screenwriter, but it just feels like a money grab. At that point. I bought the award ceremony because we're nominated. Me and a couple of my actors are nominated in the People Choice category.
Great.
And I want to see, but I don't hold out much hope for winning because there are some people who a People's Choice is a popularity vote. It really doesn't have anything to do with my movie. It's just people voting for you. And some people are happy with awards like that. But see, Letters to Daniel I've already won a Best Director award for it. And my editor won Outstanding Editing for it at another festival. So
that's great. All right. So you're saying all these wonderful things about it. What is the content in it that means the most to you?
Well, it's okay. So the memoir is all the blog posts put in one book. Like I had the first volume, and then I updated it with 2/3 new material, and the blog and the memoir were pretty much, they were my show, right? They were about me. And I thanked people on a regular basis, most specifically my best friend and co-writer, Missy. And Missy has never gone to AOF. And we're always just constant. It always gets down to this. She either can't get the days off or she doesn't have enough money to go. And last year, she didn't have the days and she didn't have the money because I had to make a choice. Did I want her to be on set and produce letters to Daniel, or did I want her to go to AOF? She said, Amy, I'll get you out there, but I can't do both. And I said, okay. And so she's coming this year. But the content so Missy is my best friend. She's I would say caregiver, but there's no romance. It's like most people, to be a caregiver, you're usually a parent, a child. I mean, the actress who played Missy on our set takes care. She's the sole caregiver to her elderly mother who has bipolar disorder. So what is on film is the story of our friendship and my battle with bipolar disorder and what our friendship goes through in the face of that. And okay, so it does a thing where it sounds like, oh, I'm recovered and I'm all well and I never have to do anything again. But what works for a movie is not real life.
Right.
It takes us from the point where I had my first breakdown to where we premiere that little proof of concept documentary. Mm-hmm. And it starts and ends at that convention. And we filmed at a hotel for that. And we were locked out for 2 hours that day. And there was a severe everybody gets there and a severe thunderstorm is following us up the road. We're all under this overhang. Right. And we had to call and call and call. She goes, no, I thought you weren't there till noon with the wedding party. I said, we're filming the movie. I signed up to be here at 8 a.m. I had 8 to 12, but because she screwed up, she gave me the bigger room to film in.
Good.
And she let us shoot as long as we had to. So we were locked out for 2 hours, but she let us go for 2 hours longer than the original agreed upon time because she screwed up.
Well, that worked out. Well, I think it's great that you did a movie like that, just because there are so many people who have bipolar. And, my mother was bipolar, and as a child growing up, it was something that, we were never allowed to talk about, because it was like such shame. It was like everyone was embarrassed, and it was a real travesty because my mother was denied so much. So it needs to be brought out into the open, and people need to understand, and because we're all just people, no matter what's going on.
Well, my younger sister has it. My cousins, my uncle probably had it and self-medicated with drugs and alcohol,
which is very typical, right?
But his daughter has it, and his grandson has it, and it's a day-to-day thing. Like right now, I'm real jittery and real shaky, and I don't know how much of it is the caffeine I drank and it's got me wired, or if I'm just really nervous and shaky. So
you're doing great, and just the fact that you're doing this, I can't tell you how proud I am of you, because if my mom could see this, she'd be so proud, because she was always so embarrassed to do anything because she felt like she wasn't worthy. And no matter how many times I would tell her, it's like, no, if you want to do it, do it. So Amy, you are doing it, and that's awesome. And I just think that means so much to so many people going through this.
Well, I've heard of one director who has bipolar disorder, and part of the reason why I wanted to make this film is because all the bipolar films are about siblings or about parents and children or a husband and wife. And while those are very valid stories and need to be shown, what Missy did was different because we weren't romantically involved. And she had every chance and opportunity to say, I'm not putting up with this. And because, even when you're being medicated, it's not a seamless process.
Right.
You can get to a point where you've healed and you're stable, but remaining stable is a whole other journey. Mm-hmm. And I'm not, like, recently, and I think it's because I've been cooped up inside all this time. Today was the first time I got to go out and do anything in close to 3 months. We've been locked down since the second week of March. Oh, and everything pretty much, they shut, like our governor said, put a 14-day quarantine on he put basically a travel ban. Unless you absolutely had to travel for work, you weren't going anywhere, and it was work from home. And I don't have any problems with that, but I've started switching between being very depressed and then climbing the walls. And today the sun was out, and around the spring, late spring, early summer, my cycle is to be up during that time. And so, like it'll be in the winter time, like if you start like around October, my mood starts fluctuating and I get like blues. Like, things can be wonderful and my mood will not match. What's going on with me on the inside does not match the outside. Like, some people say, you've got this going on, you've got this going on. It doesn't matter because my brain is telling me something else. And I've got, you've got coping mechanisms to deal with it. But when you're inside all day and there's like no outlet, like I try to be creative every day, but when you can't focus, because lately the mind's been racing and not so. Fortunately, I took my meds before I started this show because I'd hope they'd kick in and I'll slow down. And
you're doing great, Amy. You're just doing great.
Yeah. It's good. It's like I can do this a lot easier. Like, okay, I did a documentary called All in the Family, which was about how bipolar disorder can be you can be genetically predispositioned for it. And I interviewed me, my mom and dad, my cousin Rebecca, even though her parents are embarrassed for her to talk about this, and her grandmother, who is my aunt. Uh-huh. See, Rebecca is my second cousin. So, and she went to AOF last year, and her boyfriend proposed to her there.
Aw, that's romantic.
After the Writers Awards, where she won everything in sight. So it was a good night for her.
She wouldn't say no then, right?
She wouldn't say no to Matt anyway. They've been together for 6 years. They've been together since college. I interviewed her. I wrote the questions for me, and I interviewed my parents, and I edited it. And usually, like, I edit out of necessity. I don't edit because I want to. Now, it may cost me a lot of money, but I will pay someone to edit now because I had an editor. The Letters to Daniel was the first movie where I had a DP and an editor, and they each had 30 years of experience. They're and my sound editor and composer, they're the reason. Like, I had wonderful actors. Don't get me wrong. From the top on down, I had wonderful actors. But those influences on the film really helped me. They gave me choices and made the film, like, I got the first cut of the film, and it was it had a lot of scenes not in it that we shot. And there was, you know how it is when you shoot a movie. Sometimes the sound's not working. Sometimes the scene is not gelling as a performance wise. And I had to instruct, and it's hard because, you know, women are taught to accept whatever. But he's got 34 years experience as an editor. So I was picking and choosing my battles. I said, this scene has to go back in. This scene has to go back in. This, like, right, 5 or 6 scenes had to go back in. And still, there was about 15 minutes of footage left on the floor. It was supposed to be a 77-minute film, which was what it was timed at. It was 93. It was a 90-page script. But I said, give me at least a 45-minute film, because that makes it a feature at some and a short at others. And I thought I was going to have to enter it as a short film. I didn't want to. I wanted a feature. And he said, my editor, what you have to learn to be open to people telling you stuff. And he said, listen, if I edit this for dramatic impact, instead of how you've got it written in sequential order, you've lost a lot of connective tissue. If I edit it for dramatic impact, I can get those 6 scenes you want back in there. And also, so he did what I wanted and got them back in there. And from first cut to third and final cut, before it went off to the composer and sound editor, it went from it was already at 45 minutes, it was a good film. It was a really solid film, but it wasn't going to win any awards, I didn't think, because it was just too short to tell the kind of story I was wanting to. He goes back and he edits it and adds a good 16 minutes of footage. And because it ended up being 61 minutes and 33 seconds. And I watched it before, like, he had it all fixed, and, you know, where the sound, people are talking, you know, when people are reading the voiceover, so the part, you know, so the editor knows where to put it. He went in and cleared up those spots. And when I watched it, I thought, when this has music, this is going to be something really special. It went from being a solid film to something really special, and something that I could be very proud of and promote. And it also got me a talent manager. So she saw that cut with the music and the sound was going to be a disaster. But my composer is my sound editor, and he fixed the sound. There's still sound problems. There's like 2 or 3 spots where there's a problem, but he fixed of what could have been a disaster. Both my DP and my editor were like, oh my God, I can't believe he did this. And other people who don't know the story behind it, they go, oh, why is your sound? And I'm like, you don't know how bad it was.
Wow.
It was done so quickly. Now, we started doing pre-production, you know, sending out contracts, you know, securing locations, finding a producer. We started doing that in the late summer, early fall of 2018. By March, we were looking at a second round of actresses. Now, I knew who I wanted to be the lead and co-star, but me and Missy made an agreement. I got the final say on who was playing me, and she got the final say on who was playing her. We went with an actress who was a little older to play Missy, but because the other actress who impressed us was 45 minutes late to the audition, and she didn't say, hey, I got lost, I'm sorry, right? So there was another girl who had auditioned as Amy, and I thought she was okay, but she didn't have a really strong partner. Her scene partner was really bad. I won't say names, but she wasn't going to be in the movie. She would be an extra, okay? Right? I'm like, this is my baby. You can't be in it. But this other actress was pretty good. She was just a different kind of Amy. But Megan came in and she just was so good and so right for the part. She had to be, she had to show what the disease does. And that sometimes makes you a very unlikable person. But you had to remain sympathetic to her because it's told, even though it's about both of them, it's told from Amy's point of view. She's narrating the letters, Megan's, right? So we had a different actress doing the voiceover. And I met her on another film, and she was just an amazing voiceover talent. But I also went with her as opposed to taking Megan into a sound studio because our budget was $6,000.
Wow.
So I had no money for a sound studio session. And Maria, who was the person who reads the letters, had her own sound studio in her house. So I said, I gave her the script. I said, I'll pay you X amount of dollars if you'll do this. And that's how we got it done. And
wow.
Megan does a good job of reflecting what she would sound like, but you know, you're reading the letters and she's responding to those letters, right? But the combination of the actress narrating it with Megan makes for a much more powerful, it's like a 1-2 punch. And Jenny had the hardest job, I think, because she was the straight man. She had a lot of acting to do, and a lot of her big moment scenes kind of got cut. And because there were problems, and it wasn't because of their performances, it was just technical problems with the footage. And you know, there's scenes that I didn't want to lose. But, you know, my editor tried to impress on me, like when I said, well, why isn't this scene here? He said, there's no actionable sound on the footage. And I'm like, oh God, that's the last thing a director wants to hear in post. No actionable sound. But
well, but you got it all together and it's won awards. So and
yeah,
then
it's at, okay, so it's nominated at the Indie Film Awards in New York, which were supposed to take place April 25th. But as you know, April 25th is totally underwater with this coronavirus. And they kept trying, I paid for the tickets for the ceremony, and they tried to tell me, oh, there's going to be a makeup station. And I'm already hearing you have to wash your hands, stay 6 feet apart. I said, are you really going to have a makeup station? I don't think so. And then whenever I said, look, I need to get my money back because my governor's saying I can't travel. So it does me no good. So, but they did not refund the money, and it was like over $200. And I was nominated for Best Narrative Feature.
Right.
Which is a really cool award to be nominated for.
Right.
And I would have gone to New York, but it was a total hot spot and there was no way. So it got, and they just, like, they didn't even say it was canceled. They just totally cut contact and kept the money. And and then at ICFF, nominated for Filmmaker of the Year, Actor of the Year, and Actress of the Year. Now there are some more festivals. Now Imaginarium is a small creative writing convention, and they said we're still going to have the film festival. They don't know what they're doing. I don't think they know what they're doing, but they're going to hold that convention online, and instead of it being July 10th through 12th, it's going to be September 21st through the 27th. And we're supposed to find out next Wednesday, actually a week from now, what the nominations are for the films. I have to say, I don't like for the first 3 years, they didn't have a lot of submissions.
Mm-hmm.
So my films won. Um, they had, look, I think they had artistic merit. Are they anywhere near the level of a film that Letters to Dane, the one I just shot? No. But I trust the first 3 years that it was awarded because I trust who one of the judges was. And he went to school for film studies, and he had credentials. So, and he's a film critic, and it's like there's a critics judging it. So,
Well, but you're going to get a chance to see what's like behind the scenes as you start judging for your own film festival, right? Is that something you're going to be doing?
Yeah, the most submissions I've gotten are documentaries, 11 minutes to 40 minutes.
Okay.
There are a lot, but in that you have to pick, right? You have to pick the best one. And I like I've seen a lot of good ones because I saw a short one. It was shorter than 11 minutes. It was called Nadia's Gift. And by the time I finished watching it, it was about this mother and her autistic child over in the Middle East, and how they usually lock them away in rooms, and they don't even let them come out with the family, right? So she would go door to door getting these parents and these kids, and she built a school, and then she built a place of business for them to work when they became adults. And she was just amazing. I was like blown away by this. And I saw another one called Trust Me, I'm Sick. Now, I would say Trust Me, I'm Sick is the most slickly produced documentary I've seen. When she gave her director's biography, she talked about working for HBO, for Curb Your Enthusiasm, and BP. And I'm like, she clearly had some connections. So her budget, I don't know if it cost more or if she just made it look like it cost more, but she didn't share what her budget was. And really, I try not to hold low budgets against these artists, because I know for me, production value was always where I struggled. Always. And I would shoot on like this little handheld camcorder you buy from the electronics section from Walmart, and then edit it on a little $60 editing software, And when I see people do it, and okay, I got an email from someone and said, due to the COVID-19 virus, we cannot travel. And okay, I understand. Well, then your film's going to be online, in the online portion. And then they go, but we don't have any hardware or software to burn a DVD. Listen, if you have a $300 laptop and $60, that's what I did. I found a way to do it, because that's the rule. You have to give me an electronic MP4 file, and you have to give me a DVD. The rules are the same for everyone. And you knew this. If you went to the Film Freeway page, it shows what will be needed when we're screening. Now, because they're only going to be online, I can probably just take their electronic file. But I found, even whenever I didn't have a DVD burner, I found a way to get it done. If you want to get it done, you can get it done.
Exactly. It's having that drive to do it. Yeah.
I felt like saying, I'm not doing your work for you. Nobody did it for me.
How good is that? Exactly.
And that's that. And I didn't want but sometimes I don't want to come off as too harsh, because sometimes I'll just be in a bad place. But when they told me, I'm not coming to your festival and I want you to take extra time out of your day when you're already doing a million different things and burn my movie, I don't know how Dell and Teresa put up with it. And they always keep a smile on their face.
Right.
And so I'm like, so I got to keep a smile on my face. I'm just saying, just send me your electronic file and you'll screen online.
There you go. Keep it simple. That's all you can do. Yeah, but that's great. Well, I really look forward to seeing it, your festival. So I will definitely,
Are you going to be there?
I plan to.
Oh.
I heard there's an asteroid coming towards planet Earth, so if we all make it, so I'll definitely be there. So, what else can they throw at us, right?
Murder hornets. It's been something every month.
Right? So you got to just keep the creative flow, just like you said, do something creative every day. And you're doing it. You're doing something creative every day. And you're giving a platform for other artists to do the same.
Yeah, my hope is, look, I found my talent manager through another festival that was at AOF. Mm-hmm. And I got some interference. When I first contacted her, I got some interference from that festival director, and it made her back off of me.
Okay.
So when I just sent her my resume and told her what I had done, she wanted to talk to me. So I was really excited. That was in January of last year. And I was excited, and you just got to be careful who you tell stuff to. You can't tell everybody. And that's a lesson I have to learn a lot, because I just like sharing good news when I have it. And she said, maybe you can get a contract through Script Summit. Well, then I was in the process of like putting my film together. Then I got involved in that, and I wasn't really thinking about her. Mm-hmm. And but then I heard she was coming to AOF last year. Mm-hmm. And while I was at AOF last year, I was getting these cuts of the film, right? I'd be at an event, I'd hear bloop, and then I'd look and it'd say MP4, LTD, 4K. I'm like, oh. So then I'd rush back to the room, and I'd watch, instead of watching the movies at AOF, I'm watching my movie to tell my editor what I want. Mm-hmm. And so it finally got to the final cut. I sent it. Now, my composer and sound editor is in Bulgaria.
Okay.
And so we communicated through email and Dropbox. That was how we did. And so once I got the corrected sound file from him, I gave it to Clint, and Clint burned the movie. He rendered the movie, whatever you say. Mm-hmm. And I just want everybody, like this year I have a screening for industry people, because my manager, like right before coronavirus like hit hard, we had just started taking letters to Daniel out to studios and television networks to see if they'll remake it at a bigger budget. And then Hollywood shuts down. So you got to wait. Well, so Hollywood's just starting to open back up little by little. You got the protests going on. That's probably compounding this corona thing. And so I've got a screening, a private, well, it's not private, because people have been following. I've been pushing letters to Daniel at AOF since 2016. So people are kind of wanting to see it. Right. So there will be people, regular AOFers who want to see it. My mom and dad are going to be there. My two friends are going to be there. Missy's going to be there. Megan's going to be there. And me, that's already 7 people. And you can only have 50 people in the theater. So it's first, I'm like, get the industry people, get in there and see them watch it and see what they'll offer me.
Right. Well, it sounds like something will come together.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I had online one night only premiere on Facebook. We did Facebook Live. Mm-hmm. And we showed the movie back to back, like one first, and then we showed it again. So like if someone came in halfway through the movie and they wanted to see the rest of it, they could.
Nice.
And we promoted it basically on pages and encouraging people to have watch parties. Right. And we had no money in the advertising budget. No money, $0. And we still managed to get 1,600 views.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
And now if I had poured money into it and I had 1,600 views, I wouldn't have been as happy. But I didn't have any money.
But that's what's so great, being an artist. I mean, you don't need money to create, and you're spreading the word. Your work is speaking for itself, and that's exciting.
I hope so.
It is, and someone will catch on.
Well, it got me a talent manager. See where it goes from there.
Yeah, and you're going to be at AOF with your own film festival, so it's going, it's rocking and rolling. And I'm really proud of you, and I look forward to seeing Letters to Daniel. It sounds fantastic. And then wait, the documentary part, you said it's still in post, right?
No, it's not a documentary.
It's not.
It was okay. I did a documentary called Letters to Daniel, Break Down the Bestseller.
Right.
Then I did a microfilm, which was one scene. We with different actresses, we filmed one scene. And then we sent that to festivals. And then we did a proof of concept teaser trailer. This is all trying to keep them, keep it fresh in people's minds. You know. And then we made the narrative film.
That's great. That's fantastic. You're doing what people just talk about. Here in Los Angeles, people are always, we'll make a film, we'll do this, we'll do that, but you did it. You did it.
I've made 23 films altogether.
Yeah. Okay.
Letters to Daniel is my first feature, and it's like you say, you got to own your work and be proud of all your work, but really, this is probably what I'm proudest of. It's hard. It's hard for me to look at my body of work, and to give you an example, when I've sat through premieres of my movies, and it's not a big deal, but the first time I sat through a Letters to like the microfilm where it was a scene with the two actresses, my heart was, the room was packed because, you know how they show these microfilms all in one block. So there's varying degrees of good and bad. And so we show the film, and my heart is all like, I'm probably having an anxiety attack. My heart is racing already. And there was a producer who wanted to hear a song that had been written for it. So they said, please put it in the closing credits. And then somebody snickered at the movie. And it's usually I could give a crap if somebody snickers at the movie because I know it's a good movie, but that's different because it was my life, and my heart felt like it was just gonna explode out of my chest when he did that. And then when I watched All in the Family, it's me up there on the screen, it's my family, and I'm watching it, and I'm at Indie Gathering, and the room, it wasn't a big room, but it was packed, and slowly my hands start shaking, and by the end of the movie my whole body is shaking all over, and it was really hard to stand in front of the people and talk about in a Q&A. So Missy can't be with me at Indie Gathering. That's where where I think its festival premiere will be, because that's August 13th through the 16th, and they awarded Letters to Daniel its first award, in 2014. So they've kind of been waiting for this movie too. So they're expecting something. And I don't, it's like I'm not really going to be satisfied with less than first place. I shouldn't put that much. Like, but there's other films and other genres that may be well done. And I know dramas, we shot it. I really didn't have time to process what was going on. I was just go, 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 go and get it done. We shot it in 6 days for $6,000.
Wow.
And then the making of Letters to Daniel, which is my most recent book that's out.
Yeah.
That thing wrote itself. It just like I vomited. It was like I didn't struggle. Like sometimes I'll have like anxiety before I sit down, and this book just kind of wrote itself. Wow. And it's just processing what I had just been through.
I look forward to seeing this movie. It sounds beautiful. It sounds really good.
Yeah.
So
you're very sweet.
I will definitely be there to watch it one way or another. It will be at AOF, right?
Yes, yes. Okay, it's already been accepted in a news fest, and they'll already love the movie. So even though I haven't gotten official notification from AOF, I feel like it's going to be in there because it's better than any of my other films I've ever submitted.
Okay. And we're going for first place, right? It's like
we're
putting that into the universe. First place.
No, at Indie Gathering, they have category awards at Indie Gathering, like drama, romantic comedy. Comedy. They have all these different genres, and they have first through fourth, and then they have honorable mention. The highest I've ever placed is second. Well, first at Indie Gathering, the highest I've ever placed is second for a microfilm I did. Everything else was fourth place or lower. I've never, and most of the time it's honorable mention. Almost all my films there have been honorable mention, and I want to do better than that this time. I'm sick of honorable mention. It's like you're scoring on a percentage scale. You have to score at least a 90. It's different than some festivals because you're not really competing against the other films. You're competing against a score sheet, and it's only when your final score is placed, and then it's like you can get, as long as you score a 90% out of 100, you'll get an honorable mention award, which is hard. Like that's like a B plus or an A minus, and that's a really good grade. But I don't want to be honorable mention for this film. I put too much work into it to be an honorable mention film. I don't know what it'll do at AOF. I submitted it to News Fest, the New Cinema, Annabelle Monroe's Most Important Films, and AOF and Hollywood Dreams. So I submitted it to 5 festivals.
Wow. So some good things are going to come. Well, and a plus to this whole lockdown we've been in for the past few months is that, Hollywood's going to need content, so, when these open up again, they're going to want completed films. So that's like an extra bonus because you'll have something to say, hey, check this out. So it's like that's promising. So you get a win. It's like that's great marketing material right there. So I'll keep my fingers crossed. It's very exciting.
Yes, I'm very proud of the film. I switched between being proud of the film and feeling every last thing that is wrong with it. Like I'll watch it. Well, and it's hard to because that's my life up there. It's not just any film. It's a story about my life. Now, I've gotten I've gotten films where people say this is based on a true story. And there was a director who suffers from health anxiety. Usually people call it hypochondriac or something. And that's really a stigmatizing thing too, because it's a really scary thing. Now, the hero of his movie is a woman, but it's about him. So obviously he wanted some distance from that. There was another film where she said it's inspired by my mother. Her mother had MS. And it was about how this neurological disease affects the hero, which is a guy, physically, emotionally, and mentally.
Mhm.
And she does some avant-garde kind of stuff with it. It's a good film. It's the only feature film I have received. And
Well,
uh,
okay, more could still come though,
a
right?
lot of documentaries. I've received a lot of documentaries.
Well, the deadline's still a ways ahead,
Yeah,
so
it's
there's
like
still
it's
definitely time,
August 10th, and
and there is
like
time,
I'm afraid like at the end they're gonna like just load up in my box, and that'll be fine.
right?
But I'm like I don't want to get slammed.
Well, okay, so if someone wants to submit to your festival, what do they do?
Okay, so you go to filmfreeway.com/ Conquering Disabilities Film Fest. And if you want to know more about the film festival, go to conqueringdisabilitiesfilmfest.com. There you'll find all the information about the festival, and there are some resources for mental health, human trafficking, thing and stuff like that on the page. So
Okay.
it's a user friendly page. So
Uh, okay, Conquering Disabilities Film
or
Festival.com.
Film Fest.
Oh, Film Fest. Okay. All right, cool. I will definitely be sure to write that out too, so people can
Well,
easily see that.
caregivers are allowed to submit stuff too. You just
Okay.
have to tell me that in your
Yes, Kristen.
cover letter,
Okay.
so I know what to
Right. What to look
consider
for.
you for.
Okay. And then the deadline is August 10th,
August
right?
10th, and
Okay. So there's
notifications
time.
will be. You may know before,
Yeah.
but it's kind of like a rolling deadline.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for you, Amy. It's like you get to see all these incoming submissions and you have this beautiful film that you've poured your heart and soul into. That's exciting. I'm just so excited for you, and you're a hero. It's like you're just living your dream. You're doing what moves you. And I love that. That's more people need to do that, and you're telling people, do it. Look at me, I'm doing it. So that's that's awesome. That's just awesome.
Are you're not still shaking, are you?
Oh no, that was just me bouncing.
Okay.
No, yeah, yeah. We actually had a little earthquake, so you got to witness a California earthquake. We get them all the time. No big deal. We're good. But it's all good. I just want to say thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, and I look forward to seeing you. And you won't forget us meeting next time.
You do look familiar now that I didn't. Your picture was small, and I was like,
Right.
I
Yeah.
recognize your face, but
You met so many people, and I love following you on Facebook and everything that you're doing, and nothing's stopping you. Nothing is stopping you.
well, I hope something good happens soon because I live in a room at my mom and dad's house. People think I got my shit together. I'm on disability, and I just do what I do.
You're an artist, and you're in the flow of creativity. You're doing it, and you have a place to stay, and you're surrounded by people who love you, and that's the best. That's the best. So I'm proud of you. I'm very proud of you. It's like awesome.
So if you got any work about mental illness, even if you're
Okay.
not mentally ill.
Well, okay. My daughter has Down syndrome. So
Oh wow, then you
yeah.
would qualify. You're a caregiver.
And my daughter, she loves to sing, and so she wants to do something. I'm like, I only have so much time in the day. But
Well, they got the Young Storytellers Festival.
oh, okay. Well, but it's right. I can submit my stuff, but yeah, it's like
Yeah,
I
and
just
the Young Storytellers Festival is for kids 15 and younger.
she's 21.
Wow.
She's my 21-year-old. Sometimes she acts like she's my 12-year-old, but I know, but she's awesome. Yeah, she's awesome, and she said she wanted to submit something, and she totally improvised a whole bebop song, and
No,
I'm like,
Anna, submit to have her submit
oh,
to my festival.
okay, so we'll do it. 'Cause she was like, she's all in it and passionate about it, and I'm like, all right. And then she's like, can you edit it, Mom? I'm like, okay. I get to learn a new skill set, So I have until August 10th,
Yes,
So,
you have until August 10th, which is, it seems like a long time, but it'll be here before you know it.
right. So no, but she really wants to submit, so we're gonna make sure she does.
Yeah. Definitely submit to my festival. Submit to AOF, but submit to my festival too,
Oh, most
because
definitely, most
because
definitely. And
she,
I'm gonna share this too because I know a lot of families out there, who want to,
yeah. Oh, please,
So
if you've got children, anything,
yeah,
I would love to see.
and this is an amazing platform, for them to, show, just submit their work, get some recognition. So that's awesome.
I like by bringing them. I really hope they come to AOF because there are so many opportunities there. They don't spoon feed them to you, but that's where I found my manager. I
Right.
went back. I circled back. She said, I said, I've got to complete it. And I said, I have a completed film. When I get it back from my composer, will you look at it and consider talking about representation? And she said yes.
Awesome.
So I didn't come at her as a screenwriter. I came at her as a director with a completed film.
And that's what they want. They want to see that you can do the work, and you can do the work. And that's what it's all about. That's awesome. Like, yeah. It's like, I totally high five you right now. Over there waves.
I miss being on set, and I just have a hard time concentrating.
Well, I'll come back soon. Just watch, and you'll be ready. You'll be ready. All right, Amy. So thank you so very much for your time. I greatly appreciate it. Mwah, big hugs, and I look forward to seeing you in Vegas.
And yep, September 2nd through the 6th.
Yeah, baby. Okay.
All right, as Dell would say.
All right, hon. Well, thank you again. You have a great night and be safe out there.
Okay.
All right. Talk to you soon.